kids! Miss Kulkarni here. In this video, let's talk about organic chemistry. So what exactly is organic chemistry? The original definition of organic chemistry is in fact chemistry of all the living materials including plants and animals. Or we can also say it originates from living sources. Now, when we talk about organic compounds, there are two different types of organic compounds. One, naturally occurring, which can extract from plants and animals. And second is synthetic, which can be synthesized, prepared in labs. Now, in modern days, we use still a simpler definition of organic chemistry. It is the study of carbon and carbon-based compounds. Just keep in mind, it does not include some simple salts like metallic carbonates, oxides, and carbides. So where do we actually find organic chemistry around us? The most common resources is, of course, living organisms. And in our body, we know there are lipids, or we call fats, proteins, carbohydrates. These are also present in food. Then, of course, our DNA contains nucleic acids. There are some DNA bases there. And, of course, there are hormones. So, our body, human body, is full of organic chemicals. How about some medicines which we take in our daily life? And how about the coffee which I am drinking right now? All these are organic molecules. So this is the structure of caffeine present in coffee, and that's just sugar which I added to my coffee. Now how about bonding in organic compounds? Since organic compounds are compounds of carbon, let's begin with the atomic number of carbon, which is 6. Let's see if you can write down the electron configuration for carbon. That begins with 1s, contains 2 electrons. Then comes 2s, again it will contain 2 electrons, and the remaining 2 electrons, they belong to 2p. How about the orbital diagram? 1s will have paired electrons, 2s will also have a pair of electrons, and for 2p there are 3 subshells, and we will get 1 electron in each of those 2p orbitals without pairing. Remember, these electrons don't start pairing until the p orbitals are full. Only s and p are considered as valence electrons. So 2s2, 2p2 are the valence electron. So how many are those? That will be 2 plus 2. We got 4 valence electrons. Now which type of bonds carbon will form? Remember the octet rule. According to this rule, every atom will try to make octet complete by having 8 electrons. It can lose or gain or share electrons to make the octet complete. In case of carbon, since it already has 4 electrons, instead of losing or gaining, it prefers to share the electrons. So what type of bonds we get? We get covalent bonds because electrons are shared. And then how many bonds will be formed? There are 4 electrons, so it can share 4 more electrons. If we have 4 pair of shared electrons, we will end up having 4 covalent bonds. So let's practice writing the Lewis dot structure for methane. Methane, the formula is CH4, and then electrons which are available from carbon will be the valence electron, which we know there are 4 electrons. How about hydrogen? Hydrogen atomic number is 1, and that's all it can give. That means the electrons available are equal to 1. Now in CH4, we get 1 carbon atom. Each one gives 4 electrons for bonding. That means we end up having 4 electrons total from carbon. For hydrogen, we got 4 atoms. Each atom gives 1 electron, and that's why total will be 4 electrons. When we add both those, we got 8 electrons. That means the total electrons available for bonding in CH4 is 8. How about actually drawing the Lewis dot structure? And if you remember, we need to put the element which is least number of atoms in the center, which will be carbon in this case. Let's put all the atoms, remaining ones, around carbon. There goes all 4 hydrogen atoms. And then we are going to put a shared pair of electron between each of those carbon and hydrogen atom. At this point, we take the count. And if you look at that, we got 2 times 4, 8 electrons. So all the electrons are already used up. That means that will be a complete Lewis dot structure for methane. If the same structure I want to write in organic chemistry with bonds, we can indicate each shared pair as a covalent bond like this, and then put hydrogen atom at the end. What we got is the structural formula for methane. Let's talk about the process which is called as catenation. This is a very important process by which we can have carbon form covalent bonds between each other. So that results into the formation of carbon chains. Carbon can form, of course, straight chains. It can also form a ring-like structure. And then what kind of bonds it can have? It can have covalent bonds, but of course it can have single, double, and even triple bonds between those carbon atoms. So these strong covalent bonds keep carbon atoms together. Now, carbon atoms can be arranged in different forms, and based upon their arrangement, we have following different names. One of them is straight chain. What if carbon forms just a straight chain? Then we can also have some chains which are branch chains. So over here we may have a branch for one of the carbon atom. Then we can have cyclic rings, which could be something like this. And we can also have the aromatic rings. Aromatic rings are structures which have benzene. So they have alternating double bond. We can also draw benzene like this. And now here is one important term in organic chemistry. That is functional groups. So what are functional groups? These are simply the atoms or group of atoms. They can be placed on the carbon atoms. So like we have OH group. We call that group as alcohol. And then we have COOH group. We call that group as carboxylic acid. So functional groups are actually defined as reactive parts of the molecules. And then they usually contain which elements? Oxygen and sometimes nitrogen, and of course there could be sometimes chlorine, bromine, and some other elements too. These functional groups can be placed in different positions on carbon skeleton, and based upon their attachment to carbon atom, we follow different IUPAC rules. We will be studying those later on in upcoming videos. But here are some examples of organic molecules, and look at this. There is that functional group OH, alcohol, so that is methyl alcohol, and over here we have a carboxylic acid group, and that's called as ethanoic acid. You will find out how to name these organic molecules in upcoming videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in next video. Until then, bye bye.